Hi, you guys. I wanted to go over how I solved the questions on the review, just in case you're at home and you're having a little bit of a hard time. So the first problem, I have to find the y-intercept and the slope. Well, this is in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So therefore, it is really easy for me to find the slope. It's right in the m spot. So the slope is 1/3, and the y-intercept is the b. When I go to graph that, I go to 2 on the y, I plot the y-intercept first, 2 on the y, and then I do rise over run. Rise 1, run 3, rise 1, run 3. And I can also go down and back. Connect them and make a line, okay? On the second one, this is in point slope. So what I have to do here is I have to find the coordinate and then the slope. Well, this equation is y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. So my slope is right here. It's in the m spot, 2/3. The coordinate, remember, it's the opposite to what it is here. So the x value is actually 1 and the y value is -2. So what I do is I plot the coordinate 1, -2. This isn't 2 points, it's 1 point. So I go to 1, -2, and I plot it, and then I use the slope. Up 2 over 3, up 2 over 3, down 2, back 3. Should make a straight line. Whoops, sorry. Okay. Now, on these problems, it's just asking you to find the slope. So here, all I care about is rise over run. So I notice there's a pretty point here. I rise 1, I run 2 backwards. So I also look, if I write my name on this line, it's going to be negative. So I just know that the slope is negative, and it's rise over run. Okay, the next one is in slope-intercept form. So finding the slope is really easy. It's just in the slope spot. This next C is point slope. Once again, the slope is right there. Not having to do a whole lot for those ones. Now the next one, E, is in standard form, which makes it kind of a pain. I have to put it in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. And now I'm going to divide by 3. And now it's in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. This is my slope. All right, to find the slope here, I have to use the equation. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This is x, this is y, x and y, 1, 1, 2, 2. So now I just fill it in. -3 minus 4 over -1 minus 2. It's -7 over -3. Some people are trying to leave their answers like this. Remember, whoops, sorry. Remember that you don't want to have a negative over a negative. So that just, the negatives cancel out and you end up with 7/3. And that's your slope. Okay, I want you to write the equations for these lines, and I'm going to go ahead and say, let's make sure that they're in slope-intercept form. So this one's pretty easy because the y-intercept is 3. So when I have y equals mx plus b, I know the y-intercept is the 3. The slope, well, it's a negative slope. So I know it's going to be a negative number, and it's going down 3, right 2. So 3 over 2. So that's my equation. Oh, I guess I should have put it down here. Y equals -3 over 2x plus 3. Okay, so a lot of people are wanting to just ignore this question right here. It's still a line. I mean, I could plot those points. I don't want you to, but you could plot those points. So we know that when we're looking at points, to put something in slope-intercept form, we need the slope and the y-intercept. All right, well, we can find out the slope pretty easily. Remember, it's the change in y. It's the change in y over the change in x, okay? So the change in y. So what's happening? This is going down by 2 every single time. So the change is going down by 2, and over here, it's going up by 1. So my slope is -2. All right, now I have to find my y-intercept. Now there's 2 ways you can look at this. You can say, gee, that looks like it's gonna be the y-intercept right there. That coordinate, 0, 3, is the y-intercept. But let's act like you didn't notice that and you wanted to fill it in. You'd say y equals mx plus b. Fill in your slope as -2. Fill in one of these coordinates. Pick any one. I mean, I like using 0, so I'm going to pick that coordinate. -2 times 0 is 0. So that tells me right there that 3 equals b. And so I know the slope and I know the y-intercept, so I can just fill it in. Y equals -2x plus 3. That is going to be my answer for that equation. Okay, down here, some people were thrown by this one, but wait a second, we know that this line continues on both sides. So if I look here at the slope, it looks like it's a -1. I'm going up 1, back 1, up 1, back 1, up 1, back 1, up 1, back 1. So I can extend this line. And now when I extend it, I'm trying to find the slope, which I just said was -1, and the y-intercept, which is 0. So my equation is going to be y equals negative. I don't have to put the 1 there. You can if you want. And I also don't have to put plus 0, right? I can just, if you do, it's okay. Looks a little babyish, but it's okay. Okay? Find an equation of a line that goes through these 2 points. And so I'm looking for the whole equation. So I'm going to use slope-intercept. So I'm going to need the slope. Well, to find the slope, I'm going to do x, y, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So y2 is my 5 minus -1, x2 minus x1. So I have those are going to turn into a plus. When we minus a negative, it's a plus. So I have a 6. 2 minus 5 is -3. So my slope is going to be a -2. All right, so now I have to make the equation of the line. So I'm going to pick one of these points. Well, I kind of like this one because it's positive. Everything's positive in there. So I'm going to put y equals mx plus b. And you can go from point slope and convert it if you'd like to do it that way too. 5 is the y, 2 is the x, and I'm trying to figure out what the b is. So -2 times 2 is -4. I'm going to add 4 to both sides. So my b value, oh look, I have to do it in both forms anyway. So I'm going to have y equals -2x plus 9. And now it says to write the answer in standard form. Well, remember, once I have this form, standard form is just x, y, answer. So this one's pretty easy because I just have to add 2x to both sides. And then in this example, it's gone straight to standard form. I don't have to do anything else because I don't have any fractions anywhere and a is positive. Okay, on this picture here, it says find the x-intercept, y-intercept, and slope. Okay. So x-intercept. Well, where does it cross the x? Right here. So the x-intercept is -2. Y-intercept. The y-intercept right here is 3. It asks for the slope. The slope, it looks like a positive slope. If I wrote my name on this line, it would be going up. And it goes 1, 2, 3 over 2. Rise over run. Okay. Find the x and y intercepts. This is in standard form. Remember, this is pretty easy because I'm just plugging in my zeros. So I'm going to say 2 times 0 plus 6y equals 36. I'm going to make 2 equations. One is where I plug the 0 into the x, and the other one is where I plug the 0 into the y. All right, now I'm going to do each equation. 2 times 0 is 0, so that's gone. So I basically have 6y equals 36. Divide both sides by 6. Y equals 6, so my y-intercept is 6. Over here, 6 times 0 is 0, so that cancels out. 2x equals 36. X equals, if I divide that, 18. Okay, one more page. All right, so if I look here, this is giving me a lot of information. It's telling me every week I take money out from my account. So this represents some kind of money that I have an account. And this is weeks that go by. Every week some money is going down. Okay, I like to always kind of reword like what's happening. They want to know my slope. Well, I know my slope is rise over run, so it's going to be a negative slope because money's coming out of the account. And if I wrote my name on this line, it would be going down. So I know my slope is going to be negative. Now, What I am going to do is I'm just going to say, if I took this line straight across, okay, so that's at 500, and this is at 300. So my change in y, if I went from 300 to 500, that gets me 200. And then let's talk about how much we're being moved over. It looks like that's at the 2 and that's at the 6. So going from 2 to 6, 1 is 4. So it looks like my slope is negative 50. All right, now let me just go back and see if this makes sense. If I'm at 500 and then I go over 1, I should go down by 50, which is 450. That looks about right. If I go down again, that should be 50 more, which should be about 400. Okay, so that looks good. My y-intercept, now what I can do is I can say, well, I know my slope every time I moved over 1 unit. Now this way it should go up by 50. So that's gonna get me to go up by 50, and it looks like that. And that looks right. If I were to extend that line, it would go through 600. So my y-intercept is 600. Now it says, what do each of these represent? Well, in this situation, the slope is how much money I'm taking out every week. And my y-intercept is my starting, how much I started with. How much money I started with. Okay. Write this in equation in slope-intercept form and standard form. Okay, so I'm gonna start off by writing the equation over here, and I'm gonna put it in slope-intercept form first. It doesn't really matter which one you do first. This is popping out at me. I need to distribute this 1/3. Okay, remember it goes to here and to here. 1/3 of -3 is -1. Now to put it in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, I have to subtract this 2 from both sides because I want the y by itself. And there we go, that's in slope-intercept form. In standard form, I can either start at the beginning or I can go from here. It doesn't really matter. I can start from the beginning again, just in case you did this one first. I still have to distribute that 3. That's still going to be my first step. I guess it doesn't really have to be. You could multiply this side by 3. That might be actually easier. Now that I think about it, if I had to do it again, that's what I would do. Okay, now I have a fraction there which I do not like, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of it. And to get rid of it, I multiply the entire equation by the denominator. So I'm going to multiply this entire thing by 3. So now I have 3y plus 6 is x minus 3. And now I have no fractions, because remember in standard form we cannot have any fractions. Okay, I'm going to subtract x from both sides because I want it to go x, y, answer. Subtract x from both sides. Let's get rid of my plus 6 by subtracting 6 from both sides. And now also in standard form, my a, this guy right here, it can't be negative, so I'm going to multiply it by a -1, and it's going to change the signs of everything. And that is my answer in standard form. Okay. On the bottom, it asks what are the x and y intercepts. So I'm going to plug 0 in here. This is when I make both equations. One with this, I plug the 0 in for the x, the other one I plug the 0 in for y. So I'm going to solve this. 5 times 0 is 0, so that's going to cancel out. 3y equals 60, so y equals 20. 5x, 3 times 0 is 0, so 5x equals 60. Divide both sides by 5, and I get 12. So my y-intercept is 20, and my x-intercept is 12. Okay. This one up here is pretty easy. It just says that adult ticket is $8, a child ticket is $5. What's the total cost? So you could either use X and Y here, or you can just say A for adult and C for child. So A, $8 for an adult ticket plus $5 for a child ticket equals $105. If you put X and Y, it wouldn't matter if you put this with the X or the 5 with the X. Okay, either way would be fine. Write in standard form. Okay, so standard form is X, Y, answer. So the first one, I'm just gonna move stuff around. I want my X to go over here, negative 3X, negative 3X. So I have negative 3X plus Y equals negative 2. I cannot start off, my A, my coefficient of X cannot be negative. So I'm gonna multiply the whole thing by negative 1, and I get 3X minus Y equals 2. So that's my answer in standard form. They want both of these into standard form. Now the problem with this second one is that it can't have any fractions. Standard form can't have any fractions anywhere in it. So I'm gonna get rid of that fraction by multiplying the entire thing by 2, the denominator. So now I have 2y equals x, because I'm multiplying this to everything, minus 4. Okay, now in standard form, if this was slope-intercept form, I would divide by 2, but it says standard form, so now I'm gonna have to put everything in the right place. I'm gonna subtract x from both sides. So now I have negative x plus 2y equals negative 4. Can't have an a being negative, doesn't matter if anything else is negative, but not a. So I divide everything by negative 1, which basically just changes the signs to everything. And now that is in standard form. Graph y equals 2. So all I do is I go to 2 on the x-axis, on the y, because it says y equals, and then I draw a line straight across. I might want to check it. This is the problem that I was telling you guys, that I like to check it. So basically I'm going to make up any two coordinates. The y value is going to be 2 on both of them. Let's do 0, 2, and 2, 2. 0, 2 is right here. 2, 2 is right here. Yes, that's correct. Okay, last problem. Write an equation of a line that goes through these 2 points. So I have I have to find the slope, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, x, y, and now I just fill it in. This is gonna tell me the slope. So negative 4 minus 2, 3 minus a negative 6, negative 6, those two negatives make a positive, negative 2/3. So negative 2/3 is my slope. Y equals mx plus b. I'm gonna plug my negative 2/3 in here. One of these coordinates is not the y-intercept, so I just have to pick one of them. Let's do this one here. Actually, I'm gonna choose this one just because the numbers are smaller. I have a negative and positive anyway, so it doesn't really matter. My y value is negative 4. My x value is 3. I'm trying to figure out what the b is. So now that's gonna cross cancel. I have negative 4 equals negative 2 plus b. I have to add 2 to both sides. Let me see if I did something wrong here. Hold on, I feel like something's wrong. My x was positive. Okay. Y equals mx plus b.
Some of the students got their lunch late, so they'll be arriving just a little bit tardy. Please accept them without a pass. Thank you.
Oh, that's my problem. This should have been a negative 2. Sorry. And I feel like, yes, that was my mistake. So here we go. So the right answer is y equals negative 2/3 x minus 2, right here. Because I would add 2 to both sides. All right, you guys, you might want to look over this. Hopefully that will help you. Sorry the video is so long, but I just wanted to make sure that I did all the problems in case you needed extra help. Bye-bye.